Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers who are in the back, come here. Ego da jibone? Ego da jibone شو? Okay. Of course, mashallah. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. صلى الله عليه وسلم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Copy paste. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Actually, you're asking a very big question, and it's not one question, it's many questions inside one question. So you are very smart. You ask a very big question in one question. Okay. First of all, the New Testament, there is nothing called New Testament actually. When you are speaking for the fact of Islam, there is nothing called New Testament or even Old Testament. There's something called At-Tawrah and something called Al-Injil. At-Tawrah is the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Injil is the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. Okay? That concept of New Testament, it came later. Why? Because at the time of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, Injil was in the Aramaic. It's accent from Hebrew. This is the original accent, this is the original language of the Injil. What happened is, after the ascendance of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, Jesus, to the heaven, some person, he is Jewish person, his name is Shaul, and the new name is Paul. He claimed that he met Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, although he never, because Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam already were in the heaven at that time, after maybe 30 years of that incident. Then he said that I saw him in my dream and I got revelation. Then he tried to give a new gospel. Why he is doing such thing like that? Because Shaul is one of the biggest enemies for the real message of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. One of the biggest enemies. And he tried his best to torture the people and do his best to destroy Christianity, not Islam of course, but he couldn't. Whenever even he catch any student of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam and try to kill him, people never give up the real message of Islam. Then he chosen a new way, a new strategy to destroy Islam. How? To say, I became also a follower of Jesus. I met him in my dream, in the way of Sham. Then he tried to write more than 9 messages, like 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, and Romans, and many. Then later, he tried to put the concept of that Jesus is the Son of God. Although no one of the followers of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam believes such thing like that. Why I mentioned a thing like that is related to your question. In the first century, there is no any manuscript scripture for the Bible. No. Second century, we have such thing like, we call it like in the size of credit card. Very small. Yes, the oldest one, actually I think it's referred to the, 67 after the birth of Jesus, also small like as credit card. First manuscripture we have, full manuscripture, is after 4 centuries of Jesus. Okay? And it was in what? In Greek. Why? Because the real Bible, we call it Al-Injil, not New Testament, because nothing called New Testament. It was in Aramaic. Why they put the concept of New Testament? Because they put whatever has been mentioned by Matthew, Luke, and John, and Mark, plus Paul. Although Paul is not one of the students of Jesus. And then they put all of these things, and they say this is the New Testament. Why? Because in the real Injil, it says that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam are follower of the Sharia of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Okay? He's following the Sharia law of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. And he also has the Torah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Torah again to Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, because the original Torah has been corrupted 100% at that time. Disappeared. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Quran, وَيُعَلِّمُهُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَالتَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ. Even now it's still mentioned in the Old Testament, Book of Kings, 1 Kings, chapter 8, verse 9. That Solomon opened the ark to take the Torah, but he found nothing. It's big evidence inside the Torah today, like Old Testament today. You can read it by yourself now, if you want. If you open the Old Testament, 1 Kings, because we have 1st and 2nd Kings. 1 Kings, chapter 8, verse 9. Solomon, Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, want to take the Torah from the ark. He opened the ark, he didn't find anything except 2 stones which contain the 10 commandments only. That's why until today the 10 commandments is still a little bit similar to the teaching of Islam, until today. That's why it's New Testament. At the time of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the cousin of the wife of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Waraka ibn Nawfal, he was a scholar in Christianity, real Islam of course, real follower of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. That's why he believed in Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly when he understood that he is a prophet, directly, because a real follower of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, he must follow Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is based on also New Testament and Old Testament, because many verses has been mentioned, but now it is changed too much. He was writing the Old Testament and New Testament at that time in Arabic, which means he learned the original language and translated to Arabic. So at that time, Arabic language was available. Okay? Now Quran has been revealed 1,400 years ago. From that time until today, could you or did you ever hear from any scholar, either Muslim or non-Muslim, you found just one contradiction? Impossible. You will never find. But in Torah and Injil we have many. So if I make quotation from you, if I'm making copy-paste from whatever you're saying, I will copy-paste whatever you are saying, right? Either if it's correct or wrong, right? Okay. If Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam making quotation from Torah and Injil, copy-paste, he will take everything from there, right? Okay. Let's start how the oneness of Allah and how the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Torah and in Quran. Then we see if it's matching and copy-paste or not, okay? In Quran, it's mentioned clear in Juz' Amma, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say Allah is one. Allahu samad. لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. Okay? No son, no daughter, no kids, no wife. He is sufficient, right? He's one. Only God, he created everything by himself. If you go to the Bible, you will find God almost same as human. So he eats also, he likes barbecue. I'm not joking actually, it's mentioned. And he gets angry, real anger. And he come from the heaven to the earth. And he sometimes try to play WWE SmackDown match with Jacob, as mentioned in Book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 26 until verse 24 until verse 30. God, their God, of course, not our God. He came from the heaven because he lived inside the heaven. This is their aqidah. God created something and go inside and live there. I don't understand how. Anyway, he went there, came from the heaven. He met Jacob, one of the prophets, Sayyidina Zakaria alayhi salam. Then he fought with him. WWE SmackDown match. Then he lost to Jacob. So Jacob won. So God, the creator, lost to Jacob. This is not our aqidah. Don't mix, it's in Bible. You can check by yourself. Then after he lost that match, he wanted to go back to the heaven, but Jacob caught him from here. He said, let me go back to the heaven. Say, no, until you bless me. Then he said, okay, what's your name? So the God, the creator of this universe, don't know even the name of his creation. Not normal creation, he's a prophet. So that prophet has been appointed as a prophet from this God, right? But he don't know his name. So you ask him, what is your name? He say, my name is Jacob. He say, no, your name from now is Israel. Why? Because you prevailed to human and God. And then Jacob in the verse 30 says, I met God face to face. Face to face. Okay? Until now, we are speaking about some weak and ignorant God, right? Because he creates someone and you don't know even what is his name. He should be the creator of this universe, even though he lost to human when he was fighting with him. Right? For more like information, how Bible deal with the prophets. In Quran, of course, all prophets are ma'soom. Ma'soom means he never make any sin. They are the highest. They are the best among the whole human being, right? But in the Bible, if Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam take copy-paste, you go for Genesis chapter 19 from verse 30 until the end of chapter 38. Speaking about Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, one of the prophets, Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam and his two daughters. A'udhu billah, it has been mentioned that both of them, three of them, commit like something bad. So the father did something with his two daughters. That is mentioned in the Bible. You can check by yourself. If Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will copy-paste, then he will take that, put in Quran, right? Right? But this not happen. What mentioned in Quran is Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam, one of the great prophets, and he never did something like that, and nothing happened like that. Okay? You can go for example, Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, in I think in second Samuel, if I'm not second Samuel, Second Kings. Yes, Second Kings, chapter 11. That he also commit zina with the wife of the Uriah al-Hissi, the leader of the army. And then he killed Uriah al-Hissi himself. He killed the leader of the army. He sent him in front of the army, and he told the group to go back, then the enemies can kill him easily. It's mentioned actually, Second Kings chapter 11, if I'm not wrong. But what happened what mentioned about Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam in the Quran is totally different, right? Not only that, because we are in the mosque, so I will not mention what happened, but he cut some part of 100 men, and the other narration in the Bible, 200 men, and to give it as a dowry to the wife, to his fiancée, the daughter of the king. What kind of part, I will not mention because we are in the masjid. It's mentioned in the Bible. Okay? Likewise, if Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu taking copy-paste, then Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam is only prophet, right? In Quran. But in the Bible, some contradiction. When he speaks about himself, he say, I'm a prophet, I'm a human, son of man. But when Paul speaks about him, he say, God, or son of God. Contradiction. Crucifixion, Sayyidina Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam in Quran. He said he wasn't crucified. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. Right? But it's mentioned in the Bible that he has been crucified. Then if he take copy-paste, how this verse is already exist in Bible only but not in Quran? And why we don't have even such one contradiction in Quran? Right? If you are quoting from anyone, either if he's a scholar or not, you are taking everything from him. So whatever he said, the other scholars will judge if it's correct or not. So maybe he says something wrong, right? But in Quran, nothing related to that. It's totally different. Either if you speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you speak about the prophets, if you speak about the day of judgment, even if you speak about if you can see Allah or not. In life, in our life, you can see Allah. You can see Him in Jannah, not here. And in Bible also it mentioned in the Old Testament, book of Exodus chapter 33, verse 19 and 20. It mentions that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam spoke to Allah and he said, no one can, Allah is their God, speaks that no one can see Him, and whoever see the face of God, he will die. Right? But Jacob played with the God and WWE and he didn't die. He won the match actually. So you are speak about big contradictions. Even in the New Testament, how did Judas die, for example? The person who betrayed Jesus, how he died. You have two narrations inside the same Bible. First, he took silver as a reward because he betrayed Jesus. Then he felt regret and he threw that silver on the well and he hanged himself. Okay? Second narration, he received gold as a reward of betraying Jesus. So first is silver, second is gold. Totally different. But until now it's fine because this money and this money, no problem. The problem is how he died. While he bought very big agriculture field, then he was walking from very high place, he fell down, his stomach opened and he died. So now I ask you how he died. Did he hang himself or he fell down from high place? Contradiction. If that thing has been written from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's impossible to have one single contradiction because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never make mistake. He's not a human like us. I can make mistake. I'm a human. Sometimes I can say something, I didn't even mean it. Maybe I make mistake. I'm a human, no problem. Maybe next lecture I can fix it, no problem. I'm human. But God, when He makes something or writes something, it's impossible to do such one mistake or such contradiction. If we speak about contradiction, I can speak about more than 100, at least. At least. And by historically, no one of the authors who wrote that Bible, either Matthew or Mark or John or Luke, has met Jesus historically. They are not his disciples. Second, those real disciples, they are fishermen only. So no one of them went to the school to learn Grishago, like Greek or in other language. They only speak Aramaic, which is accent from Hebrew. As I'm Egyptian, of course my main language is Arabic, but I can speak Egyptian accent. It's same, Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic, Egyptian. So those people can't speak anything else except Aramaic. How they wrote Bible in Greek? How? And Jesus has been sent to those people. He even mentioned Gospel of Matthew. I has been sent to the lost sheep of Israel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him to only Bani Israel. How those people who speak only Aramaic, Hebrew, how he will give them a book in Greek? It doesn't make sense. As you say, we have a prophet in Japan. He's a Japanese prophet, not foreigner. Japanese prophet. Okay? He will give them the scripture in what? In Latino. It doesn't make sense. So when you say that Muhammad take copy-paste from this nonsense Bible, it doesn't make sense. Because at that time, actually I give you one big shock. How it's copy-paste and it's mentioned in Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, فَوَيْلُ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ لِيَشْتَرُوا بِهِ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. Those who are changing the book of Allah by their hands and take some money for that, some reward. How Allah will mention, how, if that's not from Allah, from Prophet Muhammad, how he mentioned such verse like that, although he took this verse from Bible copy-paste. Like you are killing yourself by yourself. Got my point? It doesn't make sense. I have many evidence actually, but this is like a small answer because we don't have time. As I also have many evidence, inshallah. I think no more time to even any other question, so we continue inshallah tomorrow. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.